All right, this is Mudita here, and this is PRpHD behind me. Is cracking up, and we're here to talk about Muppets Mayhem.
Can you picture that?
Can you picture that? Can you picture the classic song
from the VHS that we owned in our childhood?
Yeah, big fans of Jim Henson. We have this Kermit the Frog.
I always think that you're the bigger Jim Henson fan. Like I'm the in case anyone knew, you're the bigger Jim Henson fan, and I'm the bigger Power Ranger fan or whatever.
I mean, like, I don't know. If I open up another window here, we could show people how big of a Jim Henson fan I am.
Yeah.
I can, like, my talk from Nerd Night.
Yeah. You probably, like, show clips of that in the background or something, right?
Let me see.
Just active production value. And like on our movie, we favorited all the Jim Henson shorts. And we went to the...
This is literally me talking in front of
Museum
a bar.
of the Moving Image.
Museum of the Moving Image. This is literally me in a bar talking in front of a crowd of people about the life of Jim Henson based on his biography.
We should watch that again, actually, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely a big Jim Henson fan, and like here's some of the things you can check out. Museum of the Moving Image here. They have a permanent exhibition of the Jim Henson exhibit. Here's the biography. Here's Street Gang, Michael Davis. Good book on Sesame Street.
My franchise means less because it doesn't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And then here's I'm at the Jim Henson bench in Potential Park.
I think that's in one of your videos, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Big Jim Henson fans, and of course, Kermit the Frog here. We have this guy.
Yeah.
But we don't even see like half of these things in Muppets Mayhem because it's focused on a very specific set of characters in the Muppets universe.
Should we talk about like what they said about the potential if this is successful?
So yeah, I guess so. That can parlay into this. I think that's the right word for it. But I guess I watched Pirates of the Caribbean recently also. But
parlay.
That
was the whole movie. Even.
Anyway, we're getting off track, but
it's still Disney.
Anyway, it is still Disney. So totally lost track of what I was thinking. The Muppets. This is exploring a very specific section of the Muppets universe. It's exclusively focusing on the Muppets band, as you might know them from the Muppet Show. And like it's like Dr. Teeth and all the other characters.
Should I tell them about my my work at Disney? That story.
Sure.
So I used to work Disney Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I was training for the Disney dinosaur ride in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And my trainer was like, "Oh, what if?" And this is very topical now because like Aerosmith is like on their farewell tour. I don't know if they're actually ending, but like, they're on their farewell tour now. So, like, yeah, they were wondering if, like, for the Rock and Roller Coaster, if the Aerosmith license was gone. And, like, him and... I think it was only him, like... But he had an impression on me that he was like, we should get Dr. Chief and the Electric Mayhem to replace Aerosmith on the Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, the Muppets are... they have their own kind of, like... They had a proposal for their whole own land inside Disney Hollywood Studios, and that was like part of like Jim Henson being brought into the Disney family around the 80s, but fortunately he passed away before that deal went through. There's a whole story behind that, but we won't have to get into it now. But yeah, later on the Muppets eventually joined Disney, and then now Disney's producing these shows and stuff. So they did Muppets Now in like 2020, and then in 2023, just like about 2 weeks ago, they released Muppets Mayhem featuring the Electric Mayhem Band, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem Band.
They did Muppet Haunted Mansion, and those three things are excellent.
Muppet Haunted Mansion, exactly.
I was just talking about how like Muppets Now is probably better than The Office, better than Parks and Rec, more tasteful.
Muppets Now is not the ABC sitcom mockumentary called, which is also confusingly called The Muppets. Although it's stylized as...
There's the Muppets movie, and there's the Muppets, the movie. But that's the movie.
So there's a film called, the 2011 film called The Muppets, starring Jason Segel and Amy Adams. But then there's The Muppets TV show, not to be confused with The Muppet Show.
Well, The Muppets was a good TV show. I think that's what really matters, right?
The Muppets TV series, stylized lowercase The Muppets with
the
period.
ABC font, straight out like theme parks with like Grey's Anatomy and all that stuff.
Yeah. This is like the behind the scenes of a Muppet like late night talk show.
Yeah.
Led by Miss Piggy, and it's kind of like a 30 Rock style, Office style, mockumentary style. It's actually pretty good.
Unfortunately, happened like right after like 30 Rock was like declining at the time, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we're just talking about Muppet stuff now in general before we talk about Muppets Mayhem. But that's kind of how it always happens.
This is a podcast, Podcasts don't always go directly into the thing.
Yeah. It's always. I mean, anytime there's a opportunity to talk about movies, I'm happy to do it. But,
there you go. Yeah.
We'll give a timestamp probably for like where we actually talk about Muppets Mayhem. Which might be now. Even I don't know. Are we done?
They actually say Parks and Rec over there in the Wikipedia.
They do? Oh yeah, interesting. Yeah. So it's a parody of other mockumentary style series such as The Office, Modern Family, Parks and Rec, employing the same single camera setup filming style, with the implication of a documentary crew filming everyone.
They have experience with it with Modern Family, I guess, on ABC also.
Yeah, and it's also like there's a fictional late night talk show with Miss Piggy in it.
I guess that was the traction for Modern Family for folks, because it was like The Office sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was really good. Muppets Now was not that good. It was like basically like a YouTube channel where they're all doing various YouTube segments on.
Okay,
so it's a cool concept, but I didn't like that one that good.
3 out of 4 they did pretty well. It wasn't like Muppets in Space or Muppets Treasure Island.
Yeah. They've been pretty good recently. They've been
it's not like
good creative crew.
20 bad series of Power Rangers.
Yeah. Nothing's been as bad as that. Yeah, sorry to break it to you, but I don't know.
Why I oughta?
Yeah. Okay, I don't need to do that to you. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, Muppets is coming back, baby.
It really is.
Coming back. And speaking of which, there's the Muppets Mayhem. This show we enjoyed a lot. I think that's fair enough to say.
I would. Yeah, like probably. Yeah, it's like.
Where would you put it up there with stuff?
I would put it with live action Spirited Away in theaters, and even the bus ride to there, and even the food there, and not Ant-Man Quantumania.
Okay, so not Ant-Man Quantumania level.
Yeah.
But which we watched, but
which I didn't enjoy, later. Which I didn't think was good, but you thought was good.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. I had a great time.
Yeah. It was a great time. Yeah.
But Spirited Away was obviously top tier.
Yeah.
In theaters. I guess I saw it twice. It was very good both times. Yeah. Excellent. But we still have to publish that podcast. I don't know how we're going to edit that, but we'll figure it out later. We're behind. We've been busy.
Yeah.
But Muppets Mayhem. This is like their premiere of their show at Hollywood and in Hollywood. And then this is what the show looks like on Disney Plus. I guess I don't know. I think we're allowed to show this without clicking on anything. I think that might be fine.
I think people do that all the time.
Yeah, I think that's probably
fine.
Don't
make sure the video clips don't show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's got 10 episodes, and it features the Muppets band. And like, I was kind of skeptical at first, honestly. Like, could like just this small section of Muppets characters like fill a series? And like there's only 6 Muppets characters.
There's no Kermit.
There's no Kermit. There's actually 0 Kermit in this, which is
And he was like, "Oh, we have to have the Muppets, man. Someone's got to show up," and then they don't show up.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if there was going to be like more cameos. There's like a few small, very small cameos.
One cameo is really good.
Yeah.
The one in the end.
Yeah. But
perfect.
There's virtually no other Muppet characters. And I'm like, can they really hold a whole show with these characters? I mean...
And the other thing is, like, there's no sets. It's all live, real locations.
Yeah, maybe, it's all location shooting, yeah.
Even, like, the house they have isn't really, like, a Muppet set. It's like a place where they all walk around as if it was like a human-sized house.
Yeah.
And they don't address like them opening doors or anything.
Right. The typical. I mean, it's obviously like they built the set. Like from what I know about how they do Muppet productions, usually they build a set such that like the performers can be like standing up 10 feet below.
Yeah.
And then like there's a place for human actors to stand.
Yeah.
So like their arms don't get tired or whatever from being cramped or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably something going on there when they had these sets. But side tangent. But anyway, yeah, it feels like these characters aren't really that fleshed out in other franchises. Like you're always kind of wondering what their whole deal is, but they actually kind of like kind of really flesh out these characters and fulfill like, oh, what is this character's deal? What's like how they work in an ensemble? Like like before, like in the Muppet Show, they'd be kind of like only like a few notes on the keyboard compared to the whole piano of like all the other Muppet characters. Like they'd just be playing music. But like now they're like actually fleshing out their backstories and like their personalities and stuff like that. And maybe this is gonna flesh out like, you know, the first leg of a Muppet verse where like they're gonna have the backgrounds of other Muppet characters in the Muppet universe. But who knows? That's actually something they said in this Wikipedia here.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
People are criticizing the Tom Cruise movie for doing the same thing.
So yeah, they might actually like start branching out. Yeah.
One thing that came to mind since you mentioned it, like, I don't know if people are gonna be like, "Oh, canon. According to this canon, Animal would never do this," compared to like something in the '60s or whatever.
Yeah, there's not really like that much.
It's more of an idea of the character, like the characters, opposed to like, what do you call it? Like comic book editing of the universe.
Like retconning or something
Not
like that?
Not really retconning, but like you're keeping all the universe like together. So like for this huge comic book editor, like
a multiverse.
Yeah,
like they gotta like keep
like
everything
all
consistent.
these events like for like 100 comics are based on like this one storyline or whatever.
Yeah, like honestly, like because these characters are so unfleshed out, that means they don't have to deal with continuity issues. With like, they
were about like the '60s where like it was all sitcoms and stuff, so like you don't have to worry about like arcs and stuff.
Yeah, like comic book fans and comic books are very serious about like having continuity and like, you know, like a fan will complain, oh, the Flash doesn't eat donuts, but in this latest comic he's eating a donut, and then like, but you know, he only has donuts while drinking coffee. Okay. Because, you know, there's going to be one fan who points it out. Because, in 1978, he says he doesn't like eating donuts. And, like, so, sitcoms don't have that issue, really.
I guess
people give a lot of leeway for sitcoms, you know.
I mean, there was some of that even with the Power Ranger special Once and Always. We're like, what happened to the White Ranger? Where's all the turbo powers?
Right.
When it really doesn't matter for that thing.
Right. Yeah, something about having live actors and stuff just makes people feel like it's less...
Well, the thing with Power Rangers, like, you know, after the season's over, like, the powers are destroyed or they move on to another one to combine the powers or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, you know, it doesn't really matter.
They honestly did do a pretty decent job at, like having fun callbacks and, like, continuity references to, like, the different Power Rangers series that involve that main cast.
And it didn't explain everything,
Yeah, and like they just threw in a few here and there for fun.
Yeah.
But like they didn't like have to go into it all. It wasn't like super deep. It was like a one episode's hour special or whatever. But anyway, we're getting on Power Rangers again.
Yeah.
But like in comparison with this, like they have like 10 episodes. It's not that long where it's like it's really exhaustive.
Yeah.
But it's also long enough that, like, you know, each episode has to have enough content to, like, actually kind of explore these characters.
I felt the episode sizes were pretty good, like, especially when you have, like, 5 minutes of credits or whatever.
Yeah, these episodes are, like, you know, 30 minutes or so, and then, like, there's 10 episodes.
And, like, you have the outro, too, which is, like, another 2 minutes.
Yeah, and then there's, like, a little stinger at the end or whatever. But, yeah, like, it's a pretty tight series. It's like a mini series, really. It doesn't have to be too elaborate. They do set up a sequel, like a season 2 kind of, if they want to do that. But it also kind of ends on a good note too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to go into that either.
Yeah.
But
I mean, with all the budgeting stuff and all the stuff going on at Disney, maybe they weren't sure if they were going to do it. And first, they're going to see if this season does well.
Yeah,
with like the watch miss and everything.
Yeah. But I think we're putting the cart before the horse now.
Yeah.
We should actually talk about like why we like the series,
right?
Because we've been talking for like 10 minutes about like side things and Power Rangers and stuff. So like, yeah, why do we like this series? Yeah, it's fine. Why do we like the series? I don't know. Do you want to take?
It didn't offend me. The stories they weren't complicated. They weren't like, but they were like simple. And I sort of like complicated things, but I sort of like simple things at the same time.
Yeah.
Everyone does a good job. The acting was great. I liked how I talked about how they don't talk to the Muppets as if they were Muppets. They were talking to them as if they were humans or whatever.
Yeah. And, that's an important like lore thing that like inside Muppets.
I'm pretty sure like
that's part of like it's in the books and stuff that like you have to talk to the Muppets that they're like people or whatever. They're not puppets or whatever.
The original green screen, the Muppets, yeah.
Yeah, you have to have that suspension of disbelief, otherwise it like kind of breaks down or something.
Yeah, like it was like some toxic masculine dude like working on Muppets. You'd be like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah, you can't have the wrestling WWE franchise working with Muppets, really.
I was just feeling like Burt Reynolds or someone who's like who thinks is like above them or whatever.
Oh yeah, you have to. That's the thing is that it has to be very earnest.
Yeah.
You have to have like a Tahj Mowry or whatever.
Yeah.
Like working with the Muppets, you know, like, and that's one of the lead actors of this is let's scroll through this.
I didn't know he still. I wonder what made him come back. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, Tahj Mowry.
Lilly Singh.
Moog. Tahj Mowry is known as a smart guy on
the brother of
the main character TJ on the WB back in the day on the 90s.
Yeah.
He was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. No way. All right.
Oh,
his relatives are Tia and Tamara Mowry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's the whole family there. Yeah.
Wow. All right. But yeah, he was a smart guy. And then Lilly Singh is known for YouTube content, I believe.
Yeah. It's just I sort of find her a little bit too obnoxious on YouTube, but I thought she was pretty good for this.
Yeah, like the acting in this is pretty grounded.
Yeah.
And like I think like what you're saying with the acting and the characters and the earnestness and like the stories being like kind of wholesome. Like the core of this series is like it's a sitcom about this band, and sure they like get into hijinks and like there's like kind of like psychedelic references and stuff like that and all that.
Oh yes, that was a lot of fun.
There's a lot of goofy stuff like that, but it's still wholesome. They make it accessible to kids. But at the center of the series is like the interpersonal dynamics of the characters, like their backstories with their families, the Electric Mayhem themselves being a family, the human characters' families and interpersonal dynamics and love interests and love triangles and stuff like that. Those are the things that really keep the series grounded. If you just got into all the goofiness, then you kind of lose the plot of like what makes it a good Muppets thing.
I'll be like the script is really good when they do the comedy and stuff.
Yeah, and that kind of enables them to like really go out there and be goofy and stuff. But it's got to be.
It's grounded. 10 episodes, but like the comedy's very good script writing, like top tier.
Yeah, and like they really throw a lot of punches at you. Like they don't let you. There's not a lot of downtime between. Like, oh, they're gonna throw in the next punchy joke, and like it's really got a high density and good hit ratio of like, oh, here's a pun, here's a joke, here's a visual gag, here's another in-character joke, here's another thing that this character would say. Like, there's a good diversity of characters that really have a lot of interesting personalities here with all the Electric Mayhem members and stuff.
One thing that occurred to me,
good screen time,
and the pilot's very strong, is like that quadruple pun with like Pink Floyd and everything.
Oh, which one?
The Wall, the Who, the Cranberries or whatever.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is like since it's about like a classic rock band from like 50 years ago.
Yeah,
they're able to just inundate this with a whole bunch of classic rock jokes and stuff like that. And like, there's also there's all these recurring gags of like, oh yeah, I know these guys from way back in the day. Yeah, these guys taught me all this and stuff. And like, I'm trying to think of an example of that. Like someone from the Carpenters or whatever would be like, oh yeah, this is the guy who taught me how to walk like an Egyptian or whatever.
We gotta get the carpenters to work on the wall. The who? That's what it was, yeah.
Right, that was it, yeah. And like, right, and like, yeah, they really, and then like some episodes, like one whole episode is just filled with Beatles references, and like some of them are like really subtle. Like if you didn't know the Beatles or whatever, like you'd be like, oh, okay, I didn't, you're like, they just really sneak it in there into the dialogue really slyly. So they're thinking, you know.
And it's really good for like rewatchabilities in case you missed it. Like, whoa, I gotta watch it again. I heard it at the coffee table or whatever. Yeah. Or the water cooler or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's rewatchable. There's like lots of little kind of like gags and Easter eggs and like puns and stuff. And not just like goofy puns, but like actual like kind of clever, like, oh, it made me think for a second.
It wasn't like Marvel humor.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? Yeah.
It wasn't like you're supposed to laugh at it, but we're not gonna make it good. Like it was actually like well-written and witty stuff with like layers and complexity and stuff.
Interesting. It's not like just people saying something funny in a funny way. Like
it feels like a little bit like Thomas Pynchoni even.
And just okay, you gotta explain this a little bit. Like
Thomas Pynchoni will like have
layers.
Will have like a whole thing of Gravity's Rainbow where it just references like 20 things that happens. And once there's reference 20 things that happens in the current events or something.
Wow, okay. So yeah, they really string along a lot of different references and jokes. Like they'll have like, you know, then they'll have like you know, Floyd Pepper make a reference to like the 80s or whatever. Then Janice will reference like some like hippy dippy shamanistic
or being
psychedelica or being vegan and organic stuff. Then Animal will go off and then Lips will like bring in a celebrity or something, and then Zoot will say, "Huh, what celebrity?" And it'll just like string along in these jokes. They'll all play off each other in the script, and like you can tell the script is really tightly made and stuff. Like they put a lot.
I didn't look up if there was any improv involved either.
Yeah. I think there was room for like, you know, spontaneity, of course, in the performances, but like the script must have been really tightly made to like
maybe because like the Big Lebowski, like that one scene like is all scripted apparently,
like the scene where it's like shut the heck up Donnie or whatever, and like
exactly
and like all the little pauses and everything,
and then like one subject's like what I mean Donnie.
Okay, can we just like show an image of what that looks like, you know, even if we don't necessarily like show the clip, but Big Lebowski bowling scene is probably good.
Yeah.
This one?
No, it's when they're arguing with each other.
Shut the F up, Donnie.
Yeah. You're probably one of those
Donnie's best moments.
Yeah, the second or the third one,
yeah. Just gonna mute this and then
this is still probably copyright actually. Yeah, maybe if you keep in the black and gray, it's fine. Yeah, there you go.
Trying to see. It doesn't have the subtitles.
Yeah.
So like he's just yelling at Donnie here, you know. Oh. Shut the F up, Donnie. Hey, what do you mean by that? Shut the F up, Donnie. This is Donnie's best moments. It's not just.
This is actually a very interesting way of getting past copyright. Just making black and gray, like going back and forth.
You get the idea.
Yeah.
And I think I have the rights to this because I'm the performer.
Yeah.
This is not. I don't think they have like a thing with
Yeah, I think I won't mind.
Yeah. They don't have it licensed to like Sony Entertainment or whatever.
Yeah.
If they do, I would like to see those residuals. But this for 4,000 views, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah. This was a great show, and like, oh yeah, all the music is really good, and like there's moments that like I'm laughing, I'm crying, like some of the musical moments are like so touching. Like they choose like these perfect song choices and like really subtle performances. Like they don't go like really big and obnoxious that you might think with the Muppets all the time. Like they do have those moments, but then some of the moments where they choose like this music, it's like really like, you know, downbeat and like really emotional. I'm like, wow, I'm tearing up right now just thinking about it, you know, like. They really go, like, you know, for every laugh, there's a tear, kind of Walt Disney kind of approach at things. You know, he said that back in the day with, like, his films. Like, they really did have that here with the Muppets Mayhem here. And, like, you don't necessarily think that's going to happen with a show like this, but they have it here. So that's important for a Muppets production. You got to have the laughing and the crying, you know.
So yeah. Can you click on the Muppets wiki for me?
The wiki?
Yeah, let's see. So yeah, I noticed that thing on the bottom. Criticism for the human characters and emphasis on social media. I thought that was a highlight in my opinion.
Oh, really?
Yes. I thought the whole love triangle thing was very good. I do criticize that they sort of just turned on each other and it didn't seem all fleshed out at times. But like, I thought that was interesting and like it gave them like a host or something.
I mean, like, I'm not sure what this is referring to. Are they referring to like probably like? I want to see more of the Electric Mayhem. Why are they like?
That's very interesting.
Inserting these characters.
They didn't actually cite a reference on that part. There's no citation there.
Yeah, where's the?
There's no number.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Reception.
Okay.
This is going to say. Might be too slight to find the rainbow connection, but its ragtag band of plucky puppets and plethora showbiz gags make for a solid addition to the franchise. Yeah, there's a bunch of showbiz gags, you know. That's like kind of since Muppet Show. Muppet Show was originally about a theater and a TV show behind the scenes, and then the Muppets.
Sort of a Muppet Show ending to it also, without spoiling too much.
Yeah. Muppets TV series is also about showbiz from a different angle. This is about showbiz from the music industry angle.
There you go. Yeah.
And
they incorporate social media and like, should we talk about the video game they incorporate to it? Like virtual concerts.
Let's just
followers, social media. They updated it even with that and the 60s use.
It got a little too memey sometimes. It was like.
I didn't even think about it those terms. Yeah.
It's like it got a little bit too online towards the end. Like now, this is a whole angle here that's like. Everything on the internet is like.
I guess they didn't make it come off as natural. Like. They sounded like a bunch of dweebs. It must have made it come off as natural.
It felt kind of.
I felt like they were reading a script or something.
It did feel a little bit like boomers, like writing a story about social media and stuff.
I gotcha, yeah.
And like I don't know, it didn't feel like. But I guess that's also kind of the perspective of like the characters in the show, because like you know the boss of the record label, Penny. Is like old, and then who herself is a Muppet.
Yeah.
And then she's a new Muppet in this.
Yeah.
And then the human characters are a little older, and then but they're still millennials, I think. And then who else? But the Muppets themselves, they acknowledge that these characters are like 50 years old, and like they're still getting up to date with social media and stuff. But it got a little bit too indulgent. Like, look how funny social media and virtual reality are and stuff. That got kind of like, look at me, it's all goofy and stuff. Like the humor kind of fell a little bit at those points. That's a fair enough criticism, I would say.
In contrast to what the Muppets Mayhem Wikipedia says right here about the criticism of human characters, I have a criticism of the whole Dr. Teeth Begins origin.
Oh, Dr. Teeth's origins? Okay,
yes.
What do you think about that?
His old former occupation and stuff.
What about it?
I had a feeling it was going to horribly disappoint. And the revelation of his relatives. I thought it was going to horribly disappoint. But luckily, like because they did that, because I did that to myself, like, it didn't disappoint me, yeah.
Okay, so your expectations were lower, but then actually exceeded them.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually did follow through on it. They have a mini arc in one episode going into like his the origins of Dr. Teeth, and like
it was sort of witty, but not witty at the same time.
Fun man of the band. So this stuff, it's like yeah, it's
America
like,
and its dentist humor for like two rustlers and stuff. It always feels very tacky when they do that kind of stuff.
He's Dr. Teeth. He's actually a dentist. Like
dentists have real lives, and like they're never really captured in like online unless they do like a ER thing on like dentists or something. I feel.
I don't think there's like a Grey's Anatomy of dentists, honestly. I don't think. Yeah, it's like but I don't know.
They probably do have very interesting lives, though. Like
it was an alright arc. It was like a 7 out of 10. I don't know.
Maybe a 6. Maybe a 6.
It was alright. It filled an episode. I felt like it hit enough on the moments of like, wow, maybe there's part of me that feels like you know, my dentist parents wouldn't approve of me being a band member.
I guess there's a lot of that,
me saying it like that sounds ridiculous.
Really ridiculous.
Me saying it like that
sounds ridiculous. But like it just, I gotta give him my career as this dentist, so like whatever. I guess there's like Britt Baker from wrestling or whatever.
Yeah, so she's a dentist.
She's a dentist in real life, yeah.
But I mean, like, and then like
she's doing both actually.
Ken Jeong is also an actual medical doctor.
Yeah.
And also now.
And the writers of BioWare were originally doctors, right?
That's right. The heads of BioWare originally was I forget what their names were, but
I mean, if they're probably kicked out of BioWare at this point. Like, they just go back to being doctors, right?
Exactly. That's why they felt like they could take a big risk like BioWare and everything.
Yeah. I think they've been kicked out and like probably are going back to doctors and stuff now at this point.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of medical profession stuff. I mean, like Steve Jobs said like ever since he worked at like Atari, he said he could always go back to being a programmer, so he could afford to take risks in life and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, if you're going into the arts, you shouldn't be doing it to make money. That's what they're saying at this writers' meetup I was going to recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to learn how to make money, you should be learning how to code or be a doctor or be an engineer or something like that. But I don't know. But yeah, show's all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah. And I think this is like this episode within the desert that's really cool with like the cool animations. That's another highlight of the show.
Yeah, there's a psychedelic moment in the desert where like they're eating these like
what happened?
Old marshmallows.
Oh, that's what it was. I wasn't sure if like it was because they're stuck in the desert of like they hugged the cactus or what happened.
No, they ate their expired marshmallows that were in this abandoned shed.
The expired marshmallows.
And then like and then they all had a trippy moment and stuff. And like they go into each of these characters' own versions of their trippy revelation moment to like have a bonding experience and stuff, to like have their breakthrough. A lot of this show is spent like them trying to write songs and not writing songs.
Yeah, we forgot about to mention that, and
that's like something I feel like is kind of weak about the show.
Should we spoil about if they actually write a song or not?
That's something I
think Moog's part of that too. Yeah.
I felt like that was something that was like I feel like it's a misrepresentation of the creative process. Is like. A lot of this show...
It's a lot of hard work to actually do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of it's actually, like, not about, like, going on goofy retreats and having, like, crazy encounters and stuff. A lot of it's just sitting your butt in a chair and, like, going, like, well, what do you think about this? And you're like, I don't know, let's try, I don't know.
Are you thinking about, like, when you're watching the Conan O'Brien things on Simpsons?
Yeah, it's like, there's literally a moment where, like, they have, like, a film crew... And, well, like this, to give the full context to this, I was watching this behind the scenes of like the Simpsons writing crew with like that was being hosted by Conan O'Brien, who was one of the members of the Simpsons writing crew back in the 90s and whatnot.
Monorail.
And he wrote the Monorail episode. It was like one of his first pitches actually, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And they were all bonding and like catching up on their old memories and stuff, and. Yeah, like there was a moment where they were like, people felt like it must have been like hilarious and funny and like all the time while we were writing these shows. But like we were in this dark room in this basement. It was smelly. I was sitting next to this guy who was chain smoking all the time. We don't get the lights working. You know, they don't give us any merchandise. They're making billions of dollars.
Don't get any merchandise?
They got like a couple t-shirts or whatever.
Do they get like a cake for their birthdays or anything?
You know, they're eating like sandwiches.
Peanut butter jelly? Like Russell's ate peanut butter jelly.
They're ordering like...
Mick Foley has a whole like rant about like peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
I don't remember exactly. They're ordering like Honolulu burgers or something like that. With like, I don't know, probably like pineapple on hamburgers or something.
I guess it's California.
That's alright, yeah.
It might be good. I don't know. I'm not used, I don't know what the brand is.
I mean, we're from New York, you know, so. They're like, the best thing we look forward to all day was lunchtime. You don't have no idea. And like, there was one time they had a film crew trying to film them, like while they're working on their creative process. And like, they're just going like, there's like 15 minutes of silence and they're like, well, what if Barrage goes like,
Nah.
No, that doesn't work. Well,
nah.
No. It's just like... and they just sit there, and the cameras are rolling, and they're like... The cameras are rolling, and eventually the film crew's like... They stop rolling, they're like, hey, can you guys, like, move around a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, do something for the camera? Like, you guys are just sitting there. And, like, that's kind of what it is. They're just sitting in a room for 8 hours, like, trying to grind this out, long hours and stuff. Like,
it's very interesting that's, like, sort of blue collar where everyone still looks forward to lunch, even, like, when you're writing.
Yeah, it's work, It's, and, they did have moments that were highlights where, like, they'd be making each other laugh and, like, that would be the highlight of their day and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, it'd be part of it would be, like, through that bonding of, like, trying to make humor. Like, they'd have to really... That's why they would try to make each other laugh, is to, like, help them suffer through all the work they had to put through things and stuff. The creative process isn't, like, all these fun adventures and stuff that they portray in this, like... sometimes it is like that, but most of the time it's just, like, they actually just sober up and sit down and, like... No, that's good. That's not. And they do show some of the creative process of it, where they're like kind of tinkering on this like melody, and like you see, oh, maybe you try this, and like, oh yeah, that's good. And usually that's between Floyd Pepper and oh man, it's like fading out. And usually, okay, I guess we're going, but and usually that's between Sergeant Pepper and Dr. Teeth or whatever. But anyway, I've been rambling on for a while.
I feel pretty much... Yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else we can cover. Like, it's pretty basic sitcom. Like, it does the basic stuff right. Like, Tim Duncan, Mr. Fundamentals, he's tall, he puts his arm, he banks the basketball at the backboard and it goes into the hoop. Sometimes you just need basic stuff like that, Mr. Fundamentals.
Good fundamentals, good solid writing, good acting. Yeah, solid show.
We might even be downplaying it, but like... Yeah,
it's entertaining. It's entertaining. It's good entertainment.
Yeah. Like, that's
solid entertainment.
Good acting. The script's very good.
Also, to like kind of like give an idea of like the kind of tone this has. Yeah. Like, it's kind of what I was looking for in a show. In some ways, this might be the show you're looking for if you identify with this. Is like I don't really want to watch horror. I don't want to watch something stressful. Sometimes I don't want to watch Succession. I don't want to watch a documentary about how the planet's burning apart. This is like just about like artists, a family, relationships, getting along, spreading a good message, telling a good story, working through problems, interpersonal problems. It's kind of like creating a better world, in like a small way. But, in a fun way, in a kind of wholesome way with, like, these really kind of fun characters that are, like, just really likable, and they're really, really, I don't know, they're just really earnest, and just really wholesome kind of show, And if that's what you're in the mood for, this is perfect for that. While having a few trippy moments and also some references to, like, hippy-dippy stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
this is sort of, I don't want to go really into it, but, like, this sort of reminds me of, like, how, like, a long time ago we won't be able to have a show like this because they had, like, Chong in this. I forget if Cheech was in this either.
Yeah, it's Cheech and Chong in this, yeah. Sometimes they don't show them together in recent cameos, but yeah, they had both of them in this.
Okay, and then, so that thing, like, you worry about with parents, and, like...
It's clean humor. There's no... It's clean humor.
It's not sexual, I guess. It's not violent.
They imply things for the adults out there, but like because of like it's classic rock.
It didn't occur to me like if kids would realize what they're talking about is another thing.
Yeah. I think even some of the original Muppet Show stuff goes even further than this. They toned down Animal, for instance. Like now he's
right. He doesn't chase woman anymore.
Yeah. They don't have that anymore. That doesn't play as well anymore. Yeah. Like that's really. You don't want that. Yeah. So, like, yeah.
Like the whole Pirates of the Caribbean thing,
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, like, yeah, you want to tone it down because it's Disney, Yeah. So, yeah, that's it's, it's a kind of solid entertainment while being, like, a kind of wholesome, soft around the edges kind of thing, If you're looking for that, good for the kids, good for the adults,
Yeah, because like I remember the whole thing where like people were talking about like, oh, superheroes have to be R-rated, and then like we watched Multiverse of Madness and Ant-Man Quantumania, and like maybe they don't need to be R-rated. Maybe we don't need to see spaghettification of like every single character ever made.
Yeah. It's I mean, that's one of the reasons I like Marvel movies. Like, it's like
except they're sort of like crossing that barrier and like they're probably alienating the audience at the same time and the critics.
Yeah, it's just like most Marvel movies, except for like Multiverse of Madness and a couple moments in Quantumania, is like it's just at that right kind of level of like, oh, there's like a big crisis, but you know it's gonna get resolved in the end by the good guys. And it's kind of it's like humor for like adults could watch it and stuff without being bored to tears or whatever, but it's also like something that it's supposed to sell toys still, so like kids can watch it with you. So it's kind of hitting that tone. You gotta have that like middle all ages kind of like all ages, but also for adults kind of tone.
I feel like Muppets Mayhem takes the hard way out. Whereas, like, Quantumania and Multiverse of Madness, for, like, when they do violence or when they do, like, these complicated things, take the easy way out and it doesn't work.
What do you mean hard way and easy way, man? We should wrap up soon.
Yeah, I mean, like what they were trying to do with, like, making, like, Wanda very dark and, like, trying to destroy everybody and it has, like, the invincible stuff going on.
Yeah. Whereas like the Muppets are actually trying to solve like problems that like we'd face in our daily lives. Yeah. They're so much more complicated. Yeah. And because they're interpersonally based, requires a lot of socio-emotional intelligence, and also in a group of people too. That's like how they resolve their conflicts and how to get along with each other is actually a really good model for the children and adults alike, honestly. So that's something I like a lot about this piece, and even like this work, and like it might even go further than a lot of other Muppet stuff. Even like Sesame Street doesn't even go this far, in terms of that, in terms of like how they resolve these conflicts and stuff.
Well, I don't know.
I'm opening up another can of worms just by saying that. Yeah. But anyway, we could maybe save that for another time.
Yeah. It was more like resolution stuff. It was more like
conflict resolution. Yeah.
I figured it was like, because I do like some of the Sesame Street scripts, and I do like some of the Muppets Mayhem.
I'm talking about like modern Sesame Street, where like it's targeting very small preschoolers and stuff. Okay. Yeah, not like classic like.
Because when you said that, I was thinking of like the Mr. Rogers episode of Sesame Street.
Yeah, that's like top. That's top tier. That's like 10 out of 10.
Which maybe I consider this top tier even.
Yeah. This is like that kind of stuff. It's going back to those roots of like what like Muppets can be about and stuff.
Yeah, you have to take the hard way out instead of the easy way out.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There's literally to summarize this, like there's literally a Jim Henson quote that like there's something like that where like it's you see all these conflicts in the world that people are trying to solve through violence, but sometimes you have to risk being a do-gooder and like trying to find like a much harder solution that involves like making peace and resolving conflicts in a peaceful way. And I think he was probably being quoted around the time he was working on Fraggle Rock, when he was working on that, which in its original intention, nerding out a bit, was like supposed to like try and like address world peace and the Cold War and stuff.
Oh wow.
So yeah, drop that there. This is a kind of show that's trying to get to those kinds of goals a little bit in its own small micro way. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe we'll end on that note.
Yeah. I'm very curious about that for another time, yeah?
Yeah.
When we do the Fraggle Rock review, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be a good time, right? Yeah. And that also has a lot of music in it too. Yeah. Alright, anyway. Alright, so yeah, that should be it for the review. Yeah. Very good show. Watch it. Hopefully we get a season 2. Yeah. And yeah.
Maybe Electric Mayhem at Walt Disney World Hollywood Studios.
Maybe this could be.
Maybe they expand the Muppet Land a little bit. Maybe they have a little booth where they just do a little singing.
I mean, the Muppets are ripe for a renaissance, and I feel like MCU
this is a little Muppet Renaissance, right?
Mini Muppet Renaissance happening right now.
Like the MCU, like they have to pay all these actors, and they're all leaving. But...
MCU is in recession.
Yeah.
Muppet opportunity for smaller,
diversify,
smaller IPs to like rise up. So Muppets
and maybe Tron too.
This is exactly what happened in like post recession in 2008. It was like Tron. New Muppets movie in 2011. Like,
that's really weird, right?
That's
scary, right?
Avatar film came out around 2009 also. Seems like beat for beat, all the same things happening.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
You're scaring me.
Anyway, well, let's not talk about recession now. I don't know why I opened that can of worms. Anyway,
but at the time,
I keep opening cans of worms. Anyway, we've been trying to wrap this up. This video is going to be very long, and I don't think we're going to edit this much. So... it's also probably taking up a lot of space on my hard drive. Anyway,
let's finish it up.
Let's wrap up. All right, thank you so much for listening,
so much,
guys. Stay strong, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Happy watching.
Next time.
This is.
Can you imagine that?
This is Mudita Hart.
PRpHD.
All right, take it easy. Can you imagine that?